Hi guys, Ravio between Worlds here. The most recent entry in the Zelda series, Breath of the Wild, is an amazing game and it promises to revolutionize the Zelda series forever. During the past, 15 years, Zelda games have started to become more linear and less focused on adventuring and exploring, starting with Ocarina of Time and Skyward Sword being the peak of this evolution. But now we have Breath of the Wild, and it has a vast open world in which you can explore endlessly. It has lots of extra quests and dungeons and non-linear gameplay. But what will we see in the future? Zelda producer Eiji Aonuma has told us that the way Breath of the Wild was made, the formula of Breath of the Wild, is going to be the standard for the revolutionized Zelda series. Open world and exploration and lots of quests and non-linear gameplay. So with that in mind, here's my top 5 ideas for Zelda games that could be made in the future and things that I would really like to see in future Zelda games. An open-air 2D Zelda game. So in an interview some months ago, Eiji Aonuma stated that there might possibly be coming a 2D Zelda for the Nintendo Switch because he wants to make a game in some sort of evolved 2D. We don't know what that means yet, but it could be similar to A Link Between Worlds, where Link, for example, it's still a top-down view but it uses the 3D mechanic of the 3DS, and it also uses the wall merging, in which Link is technically 2D. It might be something like that, basically staying in 2D, but as an evolved version of 2D, which sounds really exciting to me, and I really wonder what he means with this. And I would really love a game with an art style like A Link Between Worlds in a huge 2D world, but still with the open air formula of Breath of the Wild. Being able to climb a lot of things, go anywhere, and maybe even have something like the paraglide where I can basically just jump off something that's high to get lower without basically falling to death. And also with different levels and layers of height, so instead of technically just having a 2D world, for example in A Link to the Past, you have mountains, but technically these aren't really higher, they are just the rocky walls are just impassable, you can't go through them. So technically it isn't higher. I would like a game in which there are levels of height and you can go under something and above something, and maybe even like clouds and higher mountains, and just being able to be in the clouds like in the Minish Cap, which would be really awesome. Or maybe there could even be something like the upcoming Yoshi game for the Nintendo Switch, about which I also did a review video, go check that out. In that game you can change your camera angle when you reach a certain point, so that you can basically walk and see what was behind the level you were first walking through. So imagine first you're just walking past a bush, but later on you're on the back side of the bush. Imagine something like that. Basically being able to change the camera around to see things from a different angle. That would be really cool. And it would be a similar vibe to like finding secrets on the back of a house by turning into a painting in A Link Between Worlds. So you can find secret items on the walls that you couldn't even see before. And I really hope that maybe they would even return with the wall merging or something like this. Would really amaze me. Bird of the Wild. In Skyward Sword you can fly on a loft wing through the sky, which is cool, but the only area where you can fly around was above the clouds, where there is basically nothing but a few sky islands, and underneath you is only a very thick barrier of clouds, so there's nothing under you to see. But imagine a game like Breath of the Wild, but being able to fly on a loft wing. How awesome would that be? On such a big bird, being able to just fly anywhere through a huge world, being able to shoot arrows at flying enemies and looking at the wonderful view from above. That would be so good. For the people who have played Pokemon Omega and Alpha Sapphire, you know what it feels like to fly on Latios or Latias and being able to see the entire home region from above. It's so awesome, but imagine it in a Zelda game like Breath of the Wild. Flying, that would be amazing. Maybe even returning islands in the sky that we saw in Skyward Sword and also one in Twilight Princess, for example. Or as I said about the first game ID, where there could be a cloud kingdom like in Minish Cap. I would really like a 3DS Zelda game like Breath of the Wild. The 3DS is a great console, and I think just the 3D function would be really cool in such a big open world adventure. And I also think the art style of Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask 3D looks so amazing and shiny, and I would really like to see a game with the same art style but in an open world. Imagining, like, what if it was a sequel to Majora's Mask, so you would have the same Link. I would love to see a game that looks like Ocarina of Time 3D, but the world is just huge and open. I would love to explore in the form of Child Link. That would be amazing. The Next Giant. Breath of the Wild is a huge game with a huge world, but video games always keep evolving and getting bigger and better and being able to achieve more. And I hope that in less than like 20 or 15 years, which might still be possible, though I think Nintendo will first start just experimenting with the OpenAir thing, but I hope that in less than 20 or 15 or maybe 10 years, we will get a new Zelda game that isn't just huge, like Breath of the Wild, but huge, like twice or maybe even 3 times as big as Breath of the Wild, and hopefully even including different countries like Holodrum and Labrina and New Hyrule from Spirit Tracks, or maybe the big world and the continents that are in Adventure of Link, but in a real big scale like in Breath of the Wild. It would be so awesome to be able to travel anywhere, being able to like travel on foot or horse when you're on land, or sailing to other lands like in the Wind Waker. You could go from some kind of big harbour town with a real big ship, or maybe just a little boat to sail, which would make it far more exciting, of course, but a big ship gives you that majestic feeling, which would be so cool to just travel to different countries. And it would make every experience for anyone who plays it even more unique than in Breath of the Wild, because players can choose. Do you want to start off in Hyrule and do quests over there and just explore around, or do you just want to leave as quick as possible and go to different countries like Labrina or Holodrum or maybe even Hytopia? Just being able to go anywhere in any way. You can enter Hytopia and have the experience of going to Hytopia, maybe from first going to Labrina, or maybe you go to Hytopia from Hyrule right away, or whatever. You can go in any route, and everyone has a different experience of going to one of those countries. I think that will make an amazing game, because I really want to see some of those countries return in a new Zelda game, because I really like them. I think that would make like the best Zelda game. An adult Zelda. So here I'm going to be a bit stereotypical, because I usually don't really believe this, but a Zelda game with a more adult style, you know, like the games where you have like more realistic art style, which Twilight Princess did quite a good job on, with the more kind of bloody things in the graphics when you kill an enemy, for example. I would just love to see a Twilight Princess art style, you know, having the more realistic Link and the more realistic people, just everything looking more like a real world, like the way Skyrim looks, for example. I usually don't really like games with such an art style, but I think it would be really cool because I like Twilight Princess and its art style, and I think it's really cool. And I think they should try to make a Twilight Princess-like Zelda game, but with a more realistic art style, which would just make it really amazing. And I think that would also be a very cool Zelda game. So that's my list of 5 ideas for upcoming Zelda games which I would really like to see. I didn't really rank them because, well, I think the flying concept is really cool, probably the best, and the thing with the different countries is really cool, but I think they're all just cool things I really want to see, and I would really like Nintendo to kind of take inspiration from other Zelda games, like taking inspiration from Oracle of Ages and Seasons and bringing back different countries, or the flying concept from Skyward Sword, or any of different Zelda games that they could return, like Wind Waker, Sailing. That would also be awesome, of course, to return. But this is my 5 things that I would really like to see, and please leave your hopes and thoughts and expectations and ideas for new Zelda games in the comments, because I would really like to read those. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you want to see more Zelda content, because I have loads of Zelda videos. Also Mario and Pokemon and Fire Emblem, which is kind of growing, but if you like those franchises, just stay at my channel, because these videos are certainly coming too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.